Zara, a 24-year-old personal assistant, has had enough of her employer, the conceited Hollywood star Chris Cole, treating her like a second-class citizen. Chris has an odd tendency of giving a pair of diamond earrings to every woman he dates, just before ending things. Then, he always has Zara actually pick up the pieces by gathering his stuff from his former partner. Though in fact it appeared far less promising, Zara had previously thought that Chris was training her to lead his firm. When Zara doesn't arrive at 8:30 a.m., Chris is irritated since he asked her why she was seeing her writer friend Stella and begged her to rewrite the screenplay for the third movie in Chris's series. Rush Icarus. After Chris locks Zara out of his home, they have a furious argument in which she abruptly quits. Chris is told by Zara that she is the only one who really cares about his career, despite the fact that Hollywood agencies merely see him as a cash cow who can be put in bad films to make fast money. Chris responds angrily, brushing off her worries and pointing out that she has no prior filmmaking expertise. Shortly after Zara leaves, Chris suddenly knocks on her door and offers her a job as an assistant producer. Just as Brooke is getting ready to delve back into her SSEs, novelist Brooke Harwood, who has been on hiatus for 10 years, is attempting to rekindle her career. Chris enters Zara's life as he looks for her, drastically changing everything. When Chris and Brooke met, there was an instant chemistry. Chris, determined to get Zara back, had turned up to her home despite his celebrity and devoted followers. Chris had no friends and was alone. He let go of his conceited Hollywood ego and discovered an unanticipated sense of ease in Brooke's company. They discussed a wide range of subjects, and after she shared a few tequila shots, Chris was enthralled with her global wisdom. Chris gave Brooke a kiss on her behalf. She recognized how much she had missed experiencing such tenderness because it had been a while. They were in Brooke's bedroom when Zara suddenly arrived home asking for her mother. Zara was taken aback to discover that she and her employer, Chris, were in a precarious position. Chris, who was a lot younger than Brooke, shocked Zara so much that she passed out. Her vitals needed to be checked by a doctor. Following the incident, Zara approached Chris and asked him to keep his distance from her mother. Chris consented, but only on the condition that Zara accompany him as an associate producer on set. Zara thought this would put a stop to Chris and her mother's short romance, but the two couldn't help but be pulled to one another. They weren't ready to break up, but they also didn't want to hurt Zara. Chris took Brooke to dinner to talk about their predicament, but the meal soon turned into a passionate encounter. Chris's quotation from Brooke's book, which revealed a deeper connection, moved her. When Brooke got back home, she told Zara just half the truth, that they had dinner but left out the romantic twist, because she was worried about her daughter's reaction and wanted to consult her mother-in-law. Lila, who was formerly her editor, and Brooke made the decision to give Chris's relationship another go. Lila urged Brooke to welcome the experience instead of avoiding it out of concern for criticism or repercussions. By accepting the relationship for whatever long it may continue and putting the now ahead of her worries about the future, Brooke was able to find happiness with Chris. Meanwhile, Chris thought that someone else, together with the director, was better equipped to write the rewrite of his screenplay, so he passed on Stella. Zara quickly found out that her mother was the selected writer. Brooke's discovery of the writing on her nightstand made Zara understand that Brooke and Chris were in a relationship. Zara was vocal about her rejection of the relationship, which she found difficult to accept since it was the first time she had seen her mother with someone since her father passed away. Zara's sentiments of trust and devotion were further complicated by her belief that her mother had concealed her connection with Chris, leading her to feel betrayed. Brooke has always put her daughter Zara's needs first. However, Brooke believed it was time for her to concentrate on her own happiness, as Zara was now old enough to look for herself. But Zara was certain that Chris would eventually desert her mother, since she didn't think the relationship was worth Brooke's effort and thought her mother was stepping into a trap. Tension between Zara and Chris was becoming worse, so Zara requested Brooke to break things off. Lila stepped in and asked Zara, along with Brooke and Chris, to celebrate Christmas at her house. Lila encouraged Zara to give the relationship a chance and not allow her preconceptions control her actions in a private conversation. Zara was moved by Lila's remarks, which clarified to her that her mother was a human being with the capacity for love and pleasure in addition to being a parent. Zara started to observe Brooke and Chris's relationship with this fresh insight. Zara had the chance to see the relationship between her mother and Chris when Lila asked Chris to join them for Christmas dinner in a different light. At the meal, Chris stated that this was the first family Christmas gathering he had been a part of in years, showing his lack of personal connections. Zara eventually came to terms with their relationship, particularly after seeing how happy Chris made her mother. Her acceptance was put to the test, nevertheless, when she came upon a set of diamond earrings that looked similar to ones Chris had given to his ex-girlfriends. The finding revived her anxieties and questions about Chris's intentions after their Christmas party tensions came to a peak. When Zara could take it no more, she confronted Chris in front of Brooke. She voiced her worries about Chris's previous actions, especially his propensity of gifting ladies diamond earrings before calling it quits on a relationship. Chris attempted to justify himself, saying the earrings weren't intended as a sign of impending separation, but rather as a Christmas present. Though Brooke's emotions for Chris were building, she started to question her own judgment when Zara brought up the fact that Chris had a history of bringing his prior partners to Hollywood Street. She began to wonder whether her understanding of their connection was correct. After thinking back on the exchange, Zara decided she ought to have shown her mother more compassion. She realized how selfish she had been and how it had kept her from being there for her closest friend. Zara had been so preoccupied with her own problems that she had overlooked Eugene's difficulties in their relationship. Zara's awakening to herself made her reevaluate how she treated her mother's happiness and her relationship with Eugene. Zara paid Eugen a meaningful visit at her door on New Year's Eve. Zara expressed regret for her prior actions and for not being there for Eugene when he needed her. She also pledged to be a better friend going ahead and admitted her mistakes with fresh resolve and clarity. Zara chose to resign her work before her trip. She spoke with Chris one last time. Despite the recent split, Chris was still coping with the circumstance and questioned whether Brooke harbored unfavorable sentiments against him. Zara reassured him that Brooke was doing well and had plans to relocate to Princeton for a teaching post in the spring semester. Chris said that he had been worried that his relationship with Brooke was moving too rapidly, which is why he had bought the diamond earrings. His misplaced effort to control his worries about their future together had been the gesture. Chris was always one to avoid things that appeared too good to be true, and at first he considered doing the same with Brooke. In the end, however, he opted not to pursue this path and instead concentrated on his love for her. He wanted Zara to know that he really fell in love with Brooke and had never planned to leave her mother behind. Before heading off to her new job in Princeton, Chris said he really missed her and hoped Zara could let her know how much he cared. Zara took advantage of the chance to talk with her mother. She expressed her regrets for not being a better daughter and her gratitude for everything that Brooke had done for her. After all Brooke had done for her, Zara knew that the least she could do was to encourage her mother's happiness. After their moving chat and reunion, Brooke was moved by Zara's maturation and understanding, and she appreciated that her daughter saw her as a unique person with a right to love and happiness. Zara wondered whether her mother and Chris might make up, but Brooke said she was ready to move on and concentrate on her next journey. Zara and Laya came up with a scheme to get Brooke and Chris back together, or at least give them an opportunity to work things out. They staged Creed, a chance meeting in a nearby store where Chris was invited by Zara and Brooke was invited by Lila. Chris and Brooke were unaware of the plot, but their chance encounter during their unplanned reunion proved to be fortunate. Zara used the occasion to express her regret for interfering in their relationship before. She said she hoped they would think about giving their relationship another go. The results of their labors were evident a year later when Brooke released her second book, which was a major turning point in her career. Zara made a smooth adjustment into the production industry, and Brooke and Chris's bond is still going strong. Zara was truly happy for them and satisfied with the way things worked out in the movie, even if she kept the romantic elements to herself.